Think about everything you've interacted with today: streaming music, grabbing a slice of pizza, or unboxing fresh trainers. You are constantly consuming. At our core, humans only require a few specific things to biologically survive. We call these our basic needs: food, water, clothing, shelter, and warmth. Beyond those essentials, we desire an infinite number of things we don't need to stay alive. These are our wants. Taking everybody in society together, there are millions of these desires, from mobile phones to holidays, constantly shifting and growing. If every single person had to independently source, build, and satisfy every one of those millions of desires from scratch, society would simply collapse. That massive gap between what we need to survive and what we actually want to live is exactly why business exists. To fill that gap, businesses produce two main outputs. The first are goods. These are tangible items you can physically touch. They range from durable goods, like a car or a computer that you use over years, to non-durable goods, like sweets or a newspaper that you consume almost immediately. The second output is services. These are intangible actions performed for us by other people, like getting a haircut, eating at a restaurant, or managing your money at a bank. Businesses engaging in this process are creating wealth. In economic terms, wealth is the total volume of goods and services a country produces, essentially any output that can be assigned a monetary value. This means the scale of a country's business activity directly dictates its standard of living. When production increases, the total available wealth grows, which allows the population to satisfy more of their wants and become better off. But those products don't just appear out of thin air. They start with an entrepreneur, a risk-taker who spots a consumer want and decides to solve it. We call this driving force enterprise. To manufacture something complex, like a modern smartphone, an entrepreneur must acquire three specific inputs, or factors of production, to pair with their enterprise. First is land. In business, this means all the natural resources extracted from the earth. For our smartphone, that includes the raw lithium and cobalt mined specifically to build the battery. Second is labor. This is the human effort required. It includes the physical assembly on the factory floor and the mental heavy lifting from the software engineers who code the operating system. Third is capital. These are the man-made resources a business uses to function. Capital includes the highly specialized robotic machinery, the physical factory building itself, and the actual money invested to keep the lights on. Without enterprise taking the financial risk and organizing the process, the land, labor, and capital remain completely useless, disconnected elements. The entrepreneur is the engine that pulls all three together to forge the final product. To see those factors in action, we track our smartphone through the four sectors of industry. It starts in the primary sector, where businesses extract raw materials directly from the earth and sea. Those extracted materials then move to the secondary sector. This is the manufacturing phase, where factories process raw materials and assemble them into a finished physical piece of hardware. Once the phone is built, it enters the tertiary sector. This sector is entirely made up of service providers, like the digital banking networks that process your payment, the transport companies that ship the box, and the high-street retail stores that sell it to you. Finally, we have the quaternary sector. This involves high-level support, IT consultants, and research and development. Their specialized knowledge dictates how the next generation of the product will be designed. Holding a single phone in your hand means you're holding the final result of an interconnected chain spanning all four sectors of industry, operating in total alignment. This chart shows the Colin Clark sector model. It maps how the UK's employment structure has drastically evolved. In 1800, before the Industrial Revolution, the vast majority made their living entirely in the primary sector, working the land in agriculture. By the year 1900, the secondary sector rose to dominance. Driven by massive demand for shipbuilding, textiles, and steelmaking, factory work expanded to employ over half the UK workforce. In the modern era, the landscape has shifted again. Because of deindustrialization and cheaper foreign imports, the secondary sector has declined, while the tertiary and quaternary sectors now employ 76% of the workforce. This shift marks the evolution of the UK economy. Today, national wealth is powered by information services and research-driven industries that dominate the workforce. This chart illustrates the cycle of business. It shows that the moment a consumer buys a good or service, they send a direct signal that tells businesses to produce more. It is your changing wants that dictate this entire global chain. Your consumption tells the quaternary sector what software to research next. It tells the primary sector what metals to extract, and it tells the entrepreneur exactly. The question left is whether